Okay, everyone, welcome back to Introduction to Entrepreneurship. One of these days, I'll be able to say entrepreneurship without hesitating or stuttering. For some reason, every now and then I trip over that word. But welcome to Introduction to Entrepreneurship 3310. And what we're going to be covering today is the competency curve. And I know a lot of you are like, what the heck's a competency curve? Well, the reason we talk about competency curve at the beginning of this course is because I believe that if everybody understands what the life cycle of learning is, that it just helps create a foundation and then a better understanding of what we're trying to get accomplished in this course. And so a competency curve or a maturity model or a life cycle of learning, name it or call it anything you want, is really just 5 categories that people fit in, everywhere from a rookie to an expert. And the reason we like to talk about this at the beginning of entrepreneurship is because some of you right now are rookies. You really don't know anything about entrepreneurship. Some of you might be journeymen. You've started a business already, or maybe you've done a little venture on the side, even if it's just a small lemonade stand or you delivered newspapers as your own little business. It doesn't matter what it is. And others might consider yourselves experts, but the goal is to create kind of a foundational model for you so that you can understand what we're hoping to do with this course. So kind of phase 1 of the competency curve is being a rookie, or what we like to call that is being unconsciously incompetent. What does that mean? You're like, incompetent? What do you mean incompetent? Well, you just don't even know what you don't know. Like, you're unconsciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. It would be like the first time somebody said to you, let's play a sport, and you'd never heard of the sport. I remember going to a cricket match when I was in England, and I had no idea what was going on. My wife and I were just taking a tour of little cities, and as we stopped in one city, they actually had their annual cricket match going on. And so we had no clue what the rules were. We didn't even know what we didn't know. We were literally unconsciously incompetent. So, we did what any good American would do. We sat in the stands and then asked the blokes behind us, hey man, if we buy you beer, will you explain the rules to us? So we bought them beer, they explained the rules, and by the end of the couple of hour session where we sat and watched cricket, we at least kind of had a basic understanding of the rules. We still didn't quite get it all, but at least we kind of could follow what was going on. But we started off as unconscious incompetence. We didn't even know what we don't know. And that's this little picture of this skateboarder here. I mean, you can see her starting to get talked to and getting taught. She doesn't know what she doesn't know. She was given a skateboard and, let's get some instruction to you. Now, one of the funniest things, though, about some of the rookies is sometimes people act like they know everything, and they really don't know anything. And so I've thrown in this funny link to a rookie skateboarder, and it's kind of a classic fail type thing for you to look at if you want to. You can click into it. These slides will be posted to Blackboard, and it'll at least make you chuckle. Because that guy was like, he's clearly not an expert, but he was trying something like an expert, acting like he knew what was going on. So anyway, let me know what you guys think of that little funny clip if you choose to watch it. After being a rookie, then you become functional. You become consciously incompetent, which means you know what you're supposed to do, but you just can't do it. I mean, you're trying, but you're not able to. You're supposed to keep one foot on the skateboard and push the other one on the street and then pick it up and ride, but you simply can't do it. I remember trying to snowboard, and I consider myself intelligent enough to understand what a snowboard instructor is telling me. Like, you shift your weight so that you're now heading downhill and you're gaining a little speed, and then you lean back a little bit to try to slow down. As simple as it started, I knew what I was supposed to do. As simple as that sounded, I simply couldn't do it. I mean, I kept digging and digging and digging. I landed on my face, on my side, on my butt. By the end of it, I was just like, I'm too old. I was trying to learn this when I was like 42 or 43 years old. I thought, this is why you want to learn this stuff when you're young. Because when you're young, number one, you don't fall as far and it doesn't hurt as bad. And number two, I think you just pick it up quicker. I mean, it's kind of like that whole foreign language thing, right? They say you can pick a foreign language up a lot easier if you're younger. Here's a good example. Look at this picture of someone who's maybe consciously incompetent. He knows what he's supposed to do. You can almost see in his face how hard he's concentrating to figure out what to do. He's got one foot down on the ground, one foot on the board. Both feet aren't even on the board yet, but he knows what he's supposed to do. You can literally see the concentration happening in his face. So that would be someone who's functional. They're consciously incompetent. Then you kind of get to this journeyman. That person is consciously competent. They know what they're doing. They have to think about it still. So if you want to take the snowboard example where I was doing it would be, okay, Steve, now shift your weight, now lean downhill, now lean back a little bit to slow down, now lean to turn. So I would have to be thinking my way through it to have any sort of results. I wish I could say I got there on snowboards. I never did. I never actually got to be a journeyman. I've given up. It's just not in the cards for me. I'm sticking to 2 snow skis, and that's just the way it's going to be. But you're thinking your way through this. And I know a lot of you have tried new skills, have tried either new sports or tried to learn an instrument or tried even typing on a computer or coding or any of it. It doesn't matter what you're doing when you're trying to learn new skills. All of you have gone through the journey of like, I don't know what I don't know. I kind of understand what I'm supposed to do. Well, I can kind of do it now, but I'm thinking my way through it. And literally that's what you're doing. You're thinking your way through it. And to keep our skateboard thing going here, here's a girl. She's just basically cruising on down the road. She's not doing anything crazy. There's no tricks. There's no flips. She's not riding a ramp, but she understands what she's supposed to do. She's a journeyman. She's consciously competent on a skateboard. From there, we move to kind of a craftsman, and that is where you're fluctuating between consciously competent and unconsciously competent. And it means that you are really skilled. You have very few areas needing improvement. I mean, if you look at this guy right here, you can tell he is about to jump his skateboard up onto that piece of wood and ride that piece of wood. That is someone who's really good at what they're doing. He's probably thinking only a very little bit before he goes to perform this trick. He knows what he's got to do. He's right on the borderline between consciously and unconsciously competent. He's approaching with confidence, and he's going to put his board from the ground up onto some sort of ramp. He's skilled. Very few areas that he needs to improve. That's what a craftsman is. It's kind of mixing thinking, right? You're mixing in unconscious thought with execution. Then you have these unconsciously competent people. These are your experts. They execute with little to no thought. It's almost instinctive. You know one when you see one. Let's look at this guy on his skateboard. That is clearly someone who is unconsciously competent. I guarantee you he wasn't thinking hard going into a trick where he is going to jump in the air, flip his board, have it flip, hopefully land back on the board on the ground. You know experts when you see them. I mean, you just do. A professional baseball player and their ability to hit, a fastball or a curveball. Someone who plays golf, and you can tell someone who's an expert versus people who are approaching the tee, and you can literally see them looking down at the tee box and then lining their feet up. They're like, you can see them, okay, wait, and then they put their club down, and you can see them measure how far behind the ball it's supposed to be, and you can literally see them thinking. Those people are not experts. Those people are, craftsmen or journeymen or somewhere along the journey. But the experts, they step up, they shift their weight, they get comfortable, they do the same thing every time, and they just crush the ball. And so you can see the experts. And so now you're like, well, what the heck does this have to do at all with entrepreneurship? Well, our goal in this course is to just move you from wherever you are, whether you're a rookie, a journeyman, a craftsman, whether you consider yourself an expert, somewhere down the curve. We would just like to move you further along the curve. Try to increase your skill set some, whether that is we provide you things that you can be thinking about. Oh, wait, I know I'm supposed to ask questions here, something to do with financials. Whether it is where you get to be unconscious about some things, like you just are able to do valuations in your head. And if any of you watch Shark Tank, you can see that. Somebody comes in and does a presentation on Shark Tank, and they're like, I would like $10,000 for 16.2937842% of my company. And right away, all of the sharks are able to compute the valuation pretty much in their head because they've done so many valuation computations that they're just unconsciously competent at it. And, right away, almost all the time, they look back and are like, why do you have your company valued so high? They know which questions to ask. Then they start digging in to the valuation model. So they are all experts. They've done it so often, they're unconsciously competent. The goal would be to just, again, try to move the class a little further down the curve so that you can either know the questions you need to ask or make asking the questions a little bit more kind of instinctive, or just add to your skill set if you're already somewhat of an expert. So again, that's the goal of the class, move you down the kind of curve, provide some information for you so that you will be better as it regards the entrepreneurial process. So we have an assignment for you, and this is for me to learn a little bit more about you. So here's one assignment I'd like you to do. It's actually posted in Blackboard. It shows up as a test, but that's just so you guys can do short answers. Again, it's worth 10 points. But I would like you to do the short answer test. Again, you have the whole week to do it. It's not due till Sunday night, 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. But I'd like you to put in there, what is the most interesting job you've ever done? What are you passionate about? And this one's really important. What do you hope to learn from this class? Very specifically, what do you want to learn from this class? So again, look on Blackboard for detailed instructions on the assignment. It shows up there already. It'll be there Monday at 1 o'clock, as like we always publish our stuff. But go ahead and look on Blackboard for detailed instructions on the assignment. Feel free to email me if you have any questions. Again, as usual, here's my email address, swilber@bauer.uh.edu, and I'm always available to answer questions. Thanks so much for listening and learning a little bit about the competency curve. We'll talk to you again soon.